What's up everyone, Clayton here, and today we're back with another Elder Scrolls 6 wishlist. This is a video series I do every Thursday where we talk about some of the stuff we want to see in the next Elder Scrolls game. And I take you guys' comments, and then I talk about them, and see the possibilities of it being in the next game, or stuff like that, pretty much. Anyways, with the first one, from Overlord Parkour, he says more unique looking weapons / weapon enchantments. I say this because in Skyrim, you had a lot of uniquely named weapons, but not unique looking. The Pale Blade, for example, you went through the whole dungeon to get an ancient Nord sword enchanted with turned undead and fire damage. Something that you can make yourself in the game. In Elder Scrolls 6, I would like to have more weapons like the Champion's Cudgel. When I got it in Dragonborn, that was the first weapon I set out to get. Plus the Chaos Damage enchantment was pretty neat. Yeah, I feel like at least in the game, in the next Elder Scrolls game, that unique weapons at least need to be a different variant of a normal weapon. Like he said there, you could create the Pale Blade if you really wanted to, if you just use enchantments. The unique weapons, I think they have to be a unique variant. They must look different. They can't be as a reskinned, or not reskinned, but you just can't be the same, like, ancient Nord sword with this enchantment, or it can't just be a regular iron sword with this enchantment. There's not really any reason to get it because you can just enchant it yourself. I've talked about having more weapons in the game, but if they're going to have the unique weapons, like there's one warhammer called the Troll's Bane, which is just a steel warhammer with an enchantment to have a troll do more damage to trolls. When you can disenchant that and make a better weapon out of it itself, unique weapons should be able to be good weapons on their own. They shouldn't have to be disenchanted and take the enchantment and use them for something else. You should have a unique weapon be good and not just a reskinned thing with a different enchantment. And on the topic of enchantments, they don't really have a lot of enchantments in the game. There's quite a few, but a lot of them do the same thing, and a lot of them are useless. Like the Turn Undead isn't very good because you don't really fight undead very much. Fire damage is pretty useful and stuff like that, but there's just some enchantments that are useless and you'll never use. And maybe if they take out some of those and add in more like the Chaos Damage enchantment, which has I think it's like a 30% chance to do all elemental damage by like 20 points. So it'll do like fire, lightning, and frost damage for 20 points each, which I think would be pretty cool. But unique weapons, they have to be unique. They can't just be reskin stuff. So I really think they need to change that in the next game. The next thing is from Rohab Thomas, and pretty much what he says is that he would like different difficulty settings than the ones you have in Skyrim. In Skyrim, they just changed the damage that the enemy can do and the damage that you do. So if you do a higher difficulty, you do less damage and the enemies do more damage. And if you go lower, it's the reverse. He says that there should be different sliders to really change it up and kind of play your own unique way. So, for example, I guess maybe it's like you do more damage, but maybe they don't do as much as like a master difficulty. So for example, if we do it like Skyrim, if you have master difficulty, you do a lot of if you do very much damage, but your enemies do a lot. If you kind of offset that and say, I don't want to do a lot of damage, but I don't want to get hit for a lot, maybe you have it on equal playing field. That would work too. These has different difficulty sliders for what you want. Maybe you don't like that animals are really powerful, like you can't even kill a bear until you're like level 20. Maybe you can use a different slider for like maybe bears are weaker, or maybe something like that. These difficulty sliders, we have more of options than just damage and damage taken, but it'd be really cool. And maybe even for like puzzles, maybe if you really like puzzles and you want to put the difficulty on puzzles to really high, that'd be something you could do. But if you're like, I don't like puzzles, I just want to shoot stuff, you can put the difficulties for puzzles at the very bottom. I think that'd be something really cool, and something that wouldn't, like, the Skyrim difficulty just kind of sucked because it's like, oh, I do less damage now, but they do more. It makes it harder, but it's still the same game. I don't have any other feel other than I have to do more damage, and that's it. And you can also get around that by being late game. You can just be a god anyways, and there's still no difficulty then, because you have all the enchanted gear, you have all your levels max, so it's not really a point. You still feel like a god late game. So maybe if you have difficulty sliders that make it feel like you don't do as much late game, and you can actually have a challenge late game. The last comment is from the White Raven, and he talks about sword singing. Sword singing, he says, is the equivalent of Skyrim shouts. It is Hammerfell's equivalent of Skyrim shouts. It is a ancient art of the Redguards that involves the creation and use of spirit swords. So yeah, I'm not really sure what that exactly means. I tried to look some stuff about it, and it was kind of confusing, like a lot of the Skyrim lore. But pretty much it like, enables the user to create astonishing feats of swordsmanship, and perhaps even elemental techniques, which you could be used with these spirit swords like fire, ice, lightning, water, wind, and earth. So that's something unique that would happen if the game was in Hammerfell. But that kind of made me think that they have to have something to replace shouts in the next Elder Scrolls game. If they don't replace shouts, then there's not going to be any unique aspect to the game between Skyrim and the next Elder Scrolls game. It would actually be going backwards. Since shouts added a new mechanic in the game that allows you to use something other than your skills that you have, like destruction and one-handed, it gave you shouts that was completely different, that allowed you to have different aspects of the game, whether you want to do more damage with like fire breath, whether you want some utility like unrelenting force to knock people out of your way, or maybe something to help you sneak a little bit better by using throw a voice so people go chase after that. There has to be some unique thing like that, because if you don't, you just gotta have to rely on your magic skills, which that means if you want to be more of a warrior but you want the same things from their shouts, you're gonna have to switch back to magic, and I don't think that's really fair. And if they have the game in Hammerfell, the sword singing could be something like that, where you use these sword singing techniques to use like fire, ice, lightning, water, and maybe some other effects to mirror the shouts. So I think they have to add something about that in the next game. Whether or not it's going to be in Hammerfell, just going to be something related to that location that takes over the place of shouts. So if you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like, and leave a comment if you want your comment to be featured in the next one. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and it's Clayton, signing out.